Hey everyone, Steve here from Big Head Tech, and this is going to be a kind of year review of 2020 about my channel. We're going to talk a little bit about my YouTube life, a teensy bit about my personal life. Not really want to dwell too much on that, but there's been a lot of comments about it, and I figured maybe I can address them here. But this video has been inspired by Hiru Dimex. He's a WoW YouTuber, and I really liked kind of what he did. Sorry, headphone users there. And I don't want to copy what he did, but maybe bring you into my life a little bit about YouTube. So first things first is a good friend of mine, more so a childhood friend who I've stayed in touch with, said, hey, I didn't know that you did commercials. I said, I do product reviews, but I don't do commercials. And it turns out somebody ripped off one of my videos, took snippets of it, and used it to promote a product they didn't even own, and they made false claims about it. So if you remember the Comcast network extender, I would try to be as neutral as possible. It was one of my first review items. So I kind of said yes, and I was like, well, I'll give it a neutral review because I don't want to piss too many people off. And actually, as of a few days ago, I unlisted the video. I'm not going to remove, I'm going to keep it unlisted. And I've actually thought about it over some time if I want to take that video down, because to be truthful, yeah, it's a cheap product, but it's not really a product I necessarily wanted my name attached to, and it was getting more and more views. And sure, I made like 30 bucks off the video. I think that was really the telltale sign, is I looked at it and said, I made $30 off this video. I needed to remove it at this point. Sometimes I don't realize how little I actually make. So here's some stats. I gained in 1 year exactly 2,000 subscribers. That's a really big feat for me. I'm really happy about that. My video uploading stream hasn't been fantastic, and I do apologize about that. But I've had just under 1 million views on my channel this year alone. It was 973,000 some change. And of that, I made just under $2,000 of ad revenue. So to break that down, assuming I did YouTube as a full-time job, which clearly I don't, that's less than $1 an hour. Yeah, it's not fantastic. So I don't really, by any means, do some of this stuff for the money. Yeah, I'll give you a perfect example. I did one video of an NZXT H510. That's probably made me, I don't know, 60 bucks, 70 bucks, something like that. And that's what that product cost. Now, I didn't even pay for it because it was a customer. So that was like a big hit. But I've also started to look at what you guys like and what you don't like. And a lot of that's going to be in the like-dislike ratio, views and comments. That's kind of going to be it. What I do like to see is I've had a fair bit of comments on recent videos that are still in the 3 digits, moving into the 4 digits. So I'm happy with that. Where I'm not happy with is if I have a pretty high dislike ratio, and especially if the views are low. If the views are pretty high, then I look at the comments and read like what they do and don't like. I don't always get that data. Sometimes there's I did a bunch of motherboard reviews this year, and there's one of them has a fair bit more dislikes than I would like, but there's really no good feedback on there. Also, because I don't get day one samples, I've come to realize that benchmarking is not something I'm gonna put a huge effort in going forward. What I mean by that is trying to get myself day 2 content, because I don't get review samples, so I have to source it myself. So even if I get it launch day by driving 6 hours to Micro Center and back, so 3 hours each way, it takes me another probably 10 to 15 hours to get that video together. And to be truthful, the last 2 times I've done it, those videos still have not surpassed 3,000 views. So it tells me that the content just isn't that great. So I'm probably going to take a step back from doing that. Now, I'm still on my database I'm building, and it's on ultra wide, and it seems I'm looking at the 3070 spiked out of nowhere. It's up over 1,000 views in the first week, which is good. The 3060 Ti is starting to do well, and I think it's because the content's a little different. So I'll probably do more on the graphics card side and not on the CPU side. I think I can't really differentiate myself on the CPU side enough to make me relevant. And really, I don't think I'm delivering kind of value that you can't readily get at 9 a.m. on launch day from Linus or Jay or Steve or Hardware Unboxed or Tech Yes City or any of those great reviewers that I personally watch as well. So I think I'm gonna change up. I really want to focus on what I believe you guys want. And yes, that does translate to what videos got a lot of views and a lot of likes, not because I'm a like whore or whatever. I would like to grow the channel. And to be honest, I am investing money into the YouTube channel. In fact, I've already invested, I think in the last month and a half, I think we've invested like $3,000 or $4,000 of our own money, my wife and I, into it. So, you know, and I only made $2,000 of ad revenue. So it doesn't include any of the overcost of like my insurance I have to carry, my Adobe, you know, suite, my accounting suite. You know, I have a couple $100s a month in just expenses running the business. And with the way I've been building with PCs, I've maybe broken even at best this year just from the ongoing expenses, not the other investments. Like when I do system upgrades for, you know, the channel, you know, the help move along, when I do like streams for you guys, when I'm doing video editing on the go, like those are all expenses that I'm way in the red on. So that's the reality of it. I would like to grow this channel into something cool. The problem is that I look at people like Zach's Tech Turf, for example. He's actually a local person. I love his content. I like his personality. I like his backdrops, his shooting, his lighting, his B-roll. His length of videos are fantastic. I actually would love to honestly do what he does. He basically builds systems, said, hey, for this much, this is what you can build. And they're well put together. He has a really good story. They're short, they're concise. He does benchmarks. You know, I would actually like to transition to that. I don't know if that's the content you guys would like to see, but he's also putting a lot more effort into the videos. You know, I probably put anywhere from 20, on the low side 20 hours, and the high side 60, 80 hours a month on the business, which is going to be primarily YouTube. So he's probably, I don't know if that's his full-time job, but he's putting a lot into it. You know, he has a really nice studio. So anyway, what's coming in 2021? Well, hopefully in the next 6 to 8 weeks, we'll start the studio project. So we're going to be putting in a restroom down here. Thank God. We're going to be putting up walls, paint. It's going to be brighter, look nicer. So that's going to be one big project. Depending on how things unfold and where we can invest money, I want to upgrade my equipment a little bit. My camera isn't fantastic. It's only 1080p. I'd like to start shooting in 4K. I want to do some server upgrades so I can have more capacity, because I'm almost half full on footage. So I only have about 8 terabytes of storage, and I'm about halfway there with historical footage. So mind you, I actually deleted some footage on accident like a year ago. So it's not even all there. So those are some things that are coming down the road, and I'm going to be looking at my analytics over the first few months. I want to take a deep dive and basically just replicate what is getting traction and what's not, because that really translates to this is the content you want to see and this is the content you don't want to see. And I wanted to do that before, and I started to do it, but my mind has to be focused. It has to be in one direction. It has to, you know, have good story planning, storyboarding, which I'm not really doing right now. A lot of times I only have, you know, if like right now it's, I don't know, 8:30 or something, I'm going to jump on a World of Warcraft, but it will, at the bare minimum, you know, if I'm doing a really quick 8-minute overview on something, it's going to be a 3-hour process, because I have to look it over, look things up, have to kind of plan in my head, you know, how I want to do this, then I have to shoot it, then I have to put it through Adobe, and I have to see what I missed, reshoot a couple things. Usually I have to reshoot my intro and outro depending on what I missed. Then I have to put it through Adobe again, add, you know, whatever I need to do with transitions and everything. And that's for a shorter video. That's gonna be 2 to 3 hours. Just doing a quick 7-8 minute video of a motherboard. Case reviews can be a lot longer. So I want to really take a deep dive in that, because I want to simplify my life and bring you better content. So that's a really big goal that I have. You know, maybe do a product review and something else. You know, if I want to do like a weekly news, or maybe like once a month build advice, you know, something where I want to have something very consistent, where I might do like 4 reviews a month, and then like every other week I do maybe a benchmark of something, and then the other gaps I fill in, like you know, something like, you know, Paul and I think Bitwit, Kyle, you know, where they do like build recommendations, you know, something like that. I'm not even entirely sure. So I want to keep that in line as well. So that is kind of the really quick summary, and just to show you, like, YouTube, even at my level, which is pretty small, you know, 3,400, 3,500 subscribers, roughly getting 80 to 90,000 views a month, get you $2,000 a year. It's pretty much about it. It's not very lucrative at the small level, and it takes a lot of time. I mean, $2,000 a year gross. That's not even net. That's not even operating cost. You know, $2,000 a year is probably less than 2% of our household income, right? And it's like, it's not worth it for the money at the low end. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to address, these comments don't bother me, but I think I've started to realize that most of these comments come from people in other countries, and I think that's where the taboo thing comes in at. So I usually get in every other video, what's up with your nails? Why your nails a certain color painted, blah, blah, blah. And there's two reasons for that. Laziness is one of them. But the bigger part is because I don't just do YouTube, right? $2,000 a year doesn't pay the bills at all. No, I'm not working street corner either. I know my wife would say that. So I obviously work as a system, one of the solutions architect, engineer kind of thing. So I work in the software space. So that's my primary income. But it's not my only passion I have. So computers is one. I love technology. I love cars. I haven't really been doing much in cars recently, but I love cars. I've been racing most of my life. The other part is I've been really involved in fashion. And part of fashion, you know, I don't do stereotypical fashion by any means, but you know, I do something really kind of off the wall. That's why my outfits sometimes are a little weird, but really comes down to laziness. I'm not going to change my nails day over day. It can be expensive to do that. It's already like 70, 80 bucks a month for me to do that. B, it's just not really possible. Like I'd have to physically pull these off, and I'm not doing that. And I'm just too lazy to change half the time. But I've also been kind of subtle in that I'm just kind of doing waist up, or I'm not trying to be in everybody's face, because you guys are here for the tech, not for everything else. So I'm trying to get like a healthy mix of both. But it also has some limitations as well. So, you know, I do things on a couple of different subreddits. I'm involved in a lot of communities there, and obviously I have my Instagram page as well, where I'm doing a lot of uploading and that. So nobody's really interested in that, but you guys did want to cover that. And then obviously a lot of the questions asking my sexuality. So I am married to a woman. So no, I am not gay. I hate to burst your bubble, but believe it or not, somebody who identifies as straight can actually be out there and different without having to actually have a label, which is kind of my whole thing of what I'm doing, just so you know. So that is just to cover that. I don't want to harp too much on that, but because I'm asked that all the time, I figured I would address it. And like I said, I've made some changes to where like I'm avoiding thumbnails like that. I did that once and it wasn't well received, and I don't want to put other elements of my life in front of you because that's not really what this channel is about. I have other avenues that I do that. So anyway. But that's pretty much kind of what's been it. It's been a great growth year for Big Head Tech. You know, I've been incorporated for about a year and a half. I've worked with a lot of customers. I've worked with Be Quiet, big shout out to them. They've done a lot of projects with me this year. Nobody else stepped up to the plate, unfortunately, so I couldn't do the piece I wanted to do. I only had Be Quiet step up for that. Everybody else didn't respond. So I mean, my channel size is not that large anyway, so I definitely understand that, but the hope is I can start doing some of these projects as I grow, and that's kind of pretty much it. You know, 2020 for me personally, if anybody cares, was a pretty good year. You know, yeah, we had a horrible pandemic that's still going on. I totally get that. I try to look at, okay, what positive things happened, right? So like both me and my wife work from home. That's a really big deal because she works second shift, I work first shift. She works in support second shift, I work as an engineer first shift. But we get to see each other anytime we want. We honestly see each other stagger throughout the day, but like sometimes I'll go upstairs and just, if she's on like a quick like 15-minute break, I'll just sit down and just talk to her, or we'll kind of play with our dog or something, spend some bonding time. But we have that capability of doing so because we're here. She graduated with her bachelor's degree and actually is pursuing a master's. We've improved our financial standpoint by making better decisions, which has been helped fueled by the pandemic due to less expenses in many cases. So, you know, there's definitely been that. So our relationship has gotten better. Our financial situation has improved, allow us to invest in Big Head Tech more. You know, so there's been some positives out of our lives, and it really didn't impact us directly because we're the kind of people that we're gamers. We like to stay inside. We're not overly social. I kind of can be some days, but as a whole, we're not. And, you know, luckily nobody in our immediate circle has been directly impacted, but everybody's also been following pretty good precautions and really limiting their potential risk and exposure. So knock on wood, we've been very fortunate on that. I know a lot of you watching, not the case. And, you know, my heart and prayers and whatever would come for you is out there for you. My work, people I've worked with have been impacted in different ways. I know people have been impacted, and obviously I'm a researcher. I actually have a very good friend. Her fiance has a PhD in infectious disease in Germany, so I'm very much up to date on everything that's going on in the medical side of things. I have family and friends that work at major hospitals, so I'm kept up to date on their situations as well. And I just try to stay positive, and I really hope that all of you can remain positive during this time. I hope 2021 is a continued better year for everybody. I think it will be. I think as humanity, we're going to come out stronger. I hope that we're going to continue the great change that happened in 2020. What I mean by the great change is we saw a big shift in the working environment that's been promoting more, I think, family and togetherness is something we've missed for a while. So I hope that really continues. But that is it. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike the button, hit the dislike. Then I may not do a 2021 because this video is not interesting. Definitely get subscribed because, you know, as I grow the channel, it's great. Share the video with anybody you think that'll be helpful. I may have links in the description, I don't know, but if I do, and you buy something, I do get a small commission, so keep that in mind. But as always, this is Steve from Big Head Tech, and I will see each and every one of you later on down the road.